My favorite segment, the match.
Summer. Six-man tag. Bruiser, Crusher, and Billy Red Cloud versus the Blackjacks and Dusty Rhodes. It's June the 10th, 1972. June the 10th, fans. And right, you guessed it, there's wall-to-wall people packed in like sardines here at the International Amphitheater to see this one because Billy Red Cloud has joined the Bruiser and the Crusher. The match they said could not be signed has been signed. And that's Dusty Rhodes. Now he's on the other side of the fence. That's right. He's teaming with the Blackjacks. Remember, at one time he had teamed with the Crusher. Ho ho. So how things do change in the wrestling game. And here you can see a big change because it's Billy Red Cloud joining forces with the awesome twosome, Bruiser and the Crusher. And they're having a lot of fun this night, and so are the fans. The fans packed in like sardines, hanging from the rafters. I want to tell you, this was the big ticket in town, and it didn't cost a lot of money either. Hey, prices 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can't beat that. That's right. And it's a great night for wrestling at the amphitheater. June the 10th, fans. Hey, Hank Aaron hit his 649th homer on this date in 1972. That put him in second place behind Babe Ruth on the all-time list. And listen, the All-Star game was set for Soldier Field July 28th. Coach was Bob Devaney, and the All-Stars were going to go against the Dallas Cowboys. Now listen to this. Ticket prices for the All-Star game in 1972 were 5, 7, and 10. Wow, 5, 7, and 10. Not bad. I'm charging 3, 4, 5, and 6 to see this, and this is worth seeing the All-Stars in the Dallas play because this is more rock'em sock'em than that game was going to be. Hey, this is where it's at. Boy, I should have scaled this a little higher, I think. Looking back at this great night, boy, I tell you, you were sitting right in the first row if you had $6. That's right, $6 bought your first row ticket. Look at that. Billy Red Cloud is doing the Indian war chant dance, the Indian victory dance, because they'd taken that fall. And here now, Dusty, the American Dream, is having trouble. He's winding up, but he's hitting there. That's all right, Dusty. Dusty, the American Dream. At this time in history, 1972, he was a name to be considered, a name to be reckoned with in the professional wrestling game. I'll tell you, very popular guy. In fact, in Texas, he was a hero. But as he got more towards the Midwest and then went into the East, I tell you, he got more bad. And he was real bad this night. He's in there with the Blackjacks. And there's Dick the Bruiser, the world's most dangerous wrestler. And he's having a time. Wait a minute, they got him cornered in the ring over there, and they're all beating on him. They're all beating on him, and wait a minute, we got 2 referees. That's right, fans. We spared no expense for this match. 2 referees. The Illinois State Athletic Commission said, wait a minute, 2 referees? We said, yeah, you got to watch things inside and outside the ring. So we got 2 of them in there. Hey, look at him. One guy's in the corner counting, and the other guy's on the other side trying to keep order. Now, look at that. Look at him punching him. Hey. And now he just found out. Rhodes just found out you can't hurt Bruiser. You can punch him all night. Hey, there, a good right hand, and there's Dusty. Dusty is... Dusty's being dusted. Yes, sirree, Bob. Let me tell you. And a nice powerhouse there, Dick the Bruiser. Never one to come up short-handed when it come to giving them power punches. He loved to give you it in the chops. Dick the Bruiser spared no punishment. There he is working. Now they got Blackjack. No, that's Mulligan trapped in the corner. Here we go, over the shoulder. And Bruiser coming in for the pin. A 1, a 2, and in comes Blackjack. Lanza interfering in the match, as he usually does. As the match rolls along, these guys wrestled together as a team for a long time, and therefore they know each other like a book. And therefore they know when to tag in. They know when to come into the other's aid. And in this case, they're trying to keep Bruiser from pounding on him too hard. And there, now we got Bruiser again pounding on Rhodes. Ah, yes, sir. You got to remember that Murdoch was Rhodes' partner at one time. Hey, it's Dusty, the American Dream, and the referee now making the announcement. And it looks like another fall there. Wait a minute. Bruce is coming over to talk to his partner. The time's rolling down. It's the International Amphitheater, the Hall of Fame Classics. Wow, this is a great one. That's Seaman R. Thomas and Ernie Ladd, the big cat, versus Murdoch and Rhodes, the team that Moose referred to in the last interview.
Right.
He talked about Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes as a great team out of the Southwest. Well, this was a win for the two of them. Unfortunately, they pinned Thomas twice in this match in a 2 out of 3 fall, and therefore they lost the match. But Thomas couldn't get Ladd to tag back in. You've been through that, Moose, and that's what happened.
Well, Ladd is a football player, was originally drafted by the Bears.
That's right, he was.
And then he went to Kansas City
Right.
with the Chiefs, and he got to be a pretty good football player.
Big money man, too.
Yeah, but he got his legs beat up, his knees, and he's got to pay the price. But then all of a sudden, something got into his craw, and he turned. I don't know what happened to him. Something happened to him. I don't know. Somebody offered him money or something. I don't know what happened. But he picked on one of the best guys that ever was in this wrestling business. It's an honest guy, a born-again Christian, Seaman R. Thomas. What a guy.
What a guy.
Hey, worked up there in Madison, Wisconsin as a mechanic.
Yeah.
Come down. I'll tell you, you'll never see a guy in your life that's more honest than that guy. I'll tell you, there isn't a man I met of all my life that I could say that was a kinder, better man that... And I'm fast. I picked them up and laid them down. I said, Ernie Ladd, you better be fast because there's a lot of guys after your scalp.
Yeah,
I was going to say something else, but after your scalp.
Yeah, well, Moose,
That's the way it goes in this business.
you know,
up
Ladd
and down.
did have bad legs.
Yeah.
I don't like to interrupt, but when you refer to the bad legs, one night I happened to take a look at those legs. He had his trunks on, and I walked over and he
got operated
scars all over.
9 times on
They
one.
had
Yeah.
to drain his leg
Oh, they got
after
on
the
it.
matches.
They took it.
Every one of our matches, they drained his leg.
He's on canes now. He walks with 2 canes.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
You're kidding.
Right.
I'm not kidding, right?
Well, no, because they operated so many times in the knee. You know, it hasn't got that much. So they took everything out of his knee. There's nothing to support it.
Does he? Is that right?
And now he walks
I
with
hate
2
to hear
canes.
that
Yeah.
because Ernie Ladd was whatever else he was mean and tough and
Yeah,
rough.
he was a good
but
athlete.
I sort of liked Ernie, and we got to be good friends. He signed that picture back there. That's his. He signed that in the Hall of Fame, and that was the date. We inducted Ernie April 5th, 1974 in the Hall of Fame, and that picture there stood in the Hall of Fame right to when we closed the amphitheater in '83, and he signed it. And I always sort of liked Ernie. So let's watch him in action with Seaman Thomas. 16th was a great night at the amphitheater. I don't have to tell you, right? Wall-to-wall people. That's right. December 16th, 1972. Now, this did have a distinction, this particular match. It was the final card of 1972. That's right. 1972 was coming to a close. It's 9 days before Christmas, and Bob Luce is at the amphitheater right there at the first row watching this great tag team showdown. Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, there he is. Hey, now he's really become a legend. At that time, of course, he's trying to make his mark in the Midwest. Nicknamed Tiger Cat. 6'9", 315 pounds. His mother was 6 foot, 245 pounds, and his dad was 6'6", 265. And he had a sister at this time this show was going on. His sister, he said, weighed 154. Wow. He was born in Orange, Texas, and he was a high school basketball star, 6'7" at the time. All-state football. He attended Grambling College. Oh, this guy had a lot of credit, I want to tell you. One of the biggest was he was selected for the American Football League. Remember the American Football League? Right. Well, he was the first big money player for the American Football League. And then, of course, he went on. He played with the Kansas City Chiefs, the world champion Kansas City Chiefs. How about that? So here we see him. He started wrestling professionally in 1963 in Los Angeles. And he got into the pro business, and I want to tell you, he made a mark for himself. Here's Seaman R. Thomas's partner this night. Now, you see, the problem was here with Seaman R. Thomas and Ernie Ladd that they didn't really get along too well. However, we felt that this was a great tag team. Ernie Ladd teaming with Seaman R. Thomas. Seaman the legend, and Ernie Ladd, the man who was rapidly becoming a legend. So we thought they'd be great. They'd be great as a tag team. So here they are at the end of 1972 at the International Amphitheater. And everybody's excited because, oh, hey, everybody thinks we got a world-breaking tag team on our hands with Seaman R. Thomas and Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. However, Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, he wasn't all pro for nothing. He learned how to be mean in the trenches, and he hardly got along with anybody, except, of course, when it come time to give him his pay. I mean, then, of course, he was really nice. But I want to tell you, look at that. He comes into the ring, he just steps over the top rope. The only other one that I can remember doing that was the Giant. However, Ernie the Big Cat was something else. He was, let me tell you, he spoke right up. He didn't care who he was talking to. He told you like it was. If you didn't like it, tough. And here he is in the ring, and his problem now, of course, is that Seaman R. Thomas is trying to be a good partner here. See that? Seaman R. Thomas is even punching him there, and that isn't Seaman R. Thomas's way. He's a clean guy, and he likes to wrestle by the rules. Look at that. Look at, see Ernie the Cat? Did you see him kick him? Ernie the Cat Ladd, you know, he didn't mind kicking you, punching you. Then later on in his career, he used that big stick in his thumb. He taped to his thumb, and he gouged your eyes with it. Oh, he was a tough guy. Here you see punching away at Dirty Dick Murdoch. Now Murdoch's on his feet, and he's punching. That's what I like about Dirty Dick Murdoch. He earned them spurs, partner. Dirty Dick Murdoch. He's also a Texan. There we have a bunch of Texans in there. Ernie the Big Cat from Orange, Texas. Dirty Dick Murdoch and his pal and buddy, the American Dream, both Texans. The only Texan we don't have in there, the only one that's not a Texan, is our good friend Seaman Thomas. Seaman Thomas. There that Murdoch is taking a lot of punishment here. Let me tell you, Ernie Ladd was dishing it out this night. See that? For a guy his size, I tell you, nobody it seemed could move as fast as the Tiger Cat. 6'9", 315 pounds. He used to tell me in the dressing room, Bob, he says, I was the fastest tackle in pro football. And I tell you, watching him in action here, I believe it. Look at that, punching in there. Dirty Dick Murdoch's got him there. I seen in the background. Dirty Dick went somewhere else. Oh, there's Dirty Dick, and it's Dusty Rhodes in there working over Ernie the Big Cat. Now, at this stage in the game, they got Big Cat, and they were working him over pretty good. In the meantime, Seaman R. Thomas is in the corner watching this whole thing, and of course he doesn't like Ernie Ladd anyway, and so they had a little trouble tagging up here. See, Ernie is clawing his way to that corner trying to get a tag, but Seaman pushed it off. He said he didn't want to tag right at that moment. Now, I don't know whether that was right or wrong, but anyway, Seaman and Ernie at this point, at this stage, in this wrestling match, we're having a problem here. Uh-oh. He did tag. Finally, they tag. In comes Seaman, and he helps here with the partner work over Dirty Dick. In the meantime, we have Seaman R. Thomas putting on his vaunted bear hug. Ooh, down goes Murdoch. Dirty Dick hits the canvas. There's my good pal and buddy, Seaman R. Thomas. Now they're shaking hands. Well, I tell you, a little while ago, they weren't too much talking to one another. Now they're shaking hands. But as this match rolls along, you're going to see this happen again, fans, where they just didn't, they just couldn't get along here. We're rolling on. This is going to take a sudden turn for the worse for Seaman R. Thomas. I can let you know about that. Coming on down. In the meantime, you can see that Seaman is doing his best. He's being a good tag partner here. See this? Now he's punching Dirty Dick while Ernie holds him. And Murdoch is getting the job done here while Rhodes is appealing to the referee that it's double teaming. And it's true. It is double teaming, and that's not allowed in tag team wrestling. Percy Franklin, incidentally, is the referee of distinction in this unique match. There you see again this powerful Seaman R. Thomas with that bear hug. Nobody could put that on like the Seaman. Look at that. Look at that bear hug. We're in 1972, December the 16th, man. Where were you 9 days before Christmas in Chicago in 1972? It's 10 seconds down here. We're going to count it down because we're going to take a little break, and then we'll be back with this great classic. One of the main events, that is, and it was a great one because we're going to see as it rolls along, it showed you the true temperament of Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, who went on from here to become one of the great legends of wrestling in Chicago. Some great battles with Bruiser coming up later in this great series, but for now you can see him here in action, going in against Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes with a partner, Seaman R. Thomas. Now, Seaman is taking punishment. And as we're moving along in this match, the problem is Ernie Ladd isn't taking his tags. That's right. Seaman's trying to tag out so he can get a rest because he's trying to handle both of them. And you can see here where he's been spent. He's exhausted. He's been taken to the point where he can no longer cope with two guys at once without any relief. So he loses the fall. Now he's mad, but he's got to start the next fall. And he's real mad. He figures that his partner, Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, who is looking to make points. Ernie the Big Cat wants to become famous in his own time. So he's into Chicago to make a name for himself. He don't care about Thomas. Hey, Thomas, hey, do what you can out there, pal. He says, I'm not going to jump in there and get myself hurt. But let me tell you something. Thomas has taken a lot of abuse, a lot of punishment. The fans are starting to ride Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. But listen, you think he cares? Nah, he don't care. He's too mean to care. He's just going to stay out on that corner apron there and wait until Thomas has been pulverized. Looks like it, and Thomas is really, really upset. Now, Thomas is coming back. Thomas is coming back. Wait a minute. Oh, Ernie Ladd has decided that he's going to help his pal out. Now he's giving him some punches there. Seaman R. Thomas working over him real good. Hey, that looked good there. I like to see that. Now Seaman Thomas has a new breath of life. Now he got a tag. Right. Now in comes, well, Ernie Ladd must figure that Thomas has softened him up. Now I can move in against this. Hey, Ernie the Big Cat Ladd, he's a thinking wrestler. Oh, look at that big shoe into the boot. Wonder how what size that is. That must be size 20. There's a big man. Hey, big man. Look at that cat. Look at that. Grabs him by the throat, picks him up, and them boys weighing in at around 280 pounds. That's not easy to do. Hey, but that guy's strong. Into the corner turnbuckle goes Dirty Dick. And we've got a match here on our hands, but let me tell you, fans, keep this in mind. We can't get all the highlights, but this particular night, we had a serious problem develop because Ladd, late in the match, decided not to take them tags, and Thomas was hurt. In fact, Ladd turned on him. See this? Now he's punching out. Ladd's looking good here. Ladd's looking good, I got to tell you. Ladd's looking good. He's doing his, look at that, slugging in there. Ooh, and he was good at that. Let me tell you, Ernie Ladd had some good dukes on there. He could really duke it out in that ring. I like that part about Ernie Ladd, even though, of course, it wasn't legal. Now they're arguing. Look at this. Here it is, coming to a head now. See, they're arguing there. See that? Ernie Ladd and Seaman Thomas, it's finally come to a head. They're arguing. You see this, fans? Watch this. Ernie Ladd pulls him over the top rope. Look, he's kicking him in the head. Look at that. Percy Franklin's trying to stop this. Did you see that? That's what I'm talking. Look at that. He's laying in the middle of the ring. He's going to get pinned. You see that, fans? That's what I'm talking about. You can't trust. And from that moment on, Ernie Ladd was one of the most hated wrestlers in wrestling in Chicago. Just because of that move that you see right there. He turned on, there's a pin. course, you can't blame Thomas for that pin. And that's the way it was this night, December 16th at the amphitheater, 72.
Is it, Quizmaster?
Okay, fans, here we are at the amphitheater. A great one coming your way on the classics. Robinson, Billy Robinson, the British Empire champion, and Wilbur Snyder teaming up versus Dirty Dick Murdoch and Dusty Rhodes, fall of 72. Now, of course, we've already watched the great Ernie Ladd and Seaman Thomas teaming up against these two tough guys, Murdoch and Rhodes. Now we're going to see them in action against Billy Robinson and Snyder. Now, of course, let me say that they did beat Thomas twice in that match, so they won the event 2 out of 3 falls. And they did go on into 1973 with a great record and an ultimate showdown with the likes of Bruiser and Crusher. But let me say on the way, these were some of the tough foes that they had. Here's Billy Robinson, the British Empire champion. And let me tell you, this night at the amphitheater, teaming with Wilbur Snyder, it was a great matchup because Wilbur Snyder, of course, the man of 1,000 holds, and Billy Robinson, the man of 1,000 holds as well, I'm sure. Two great scientific wrestlers, also tough, rough guys that can really come at you and hurt you. In this particular case, in this match, we're looking at Dirty Dick Murdoch using some unscientific means to get away from Billy Robinson and tagging in his partner Rhodes, and it's a double team job. Let me say Rhodes and Murdoch were really rough and tough. At this time in wrestling, in not only Chicago but throughout this country, Murdoch and Rhodes had made a name for themselves as a great tag team, and they were really in demand. People around the country had to consider them as being one of the top challengers for the world title. So this night in Chicago, it was no surprise that, you got it, wall-to-wall people. Great crowd here on hand to see Dirty Dick and Dusty, to see what they could do against the likes of of Wilbur Snyder and Billy Robinson, the British Empire champion. They were tough and rough, and it was a great match all the way. A date again, in the fall of 1972. We don't have a specific date on this match, but I can tell you this, that it was a great time for wrestling because on the horizon was the greatest card of 1972, and that was the matchups at Soldier Field on September 1st. And a lot of these great matches you're seeing here on the Chicago Classics portion, a lot of these matches were in consideration as far as the great talent involved for going into this great show at Soldier Field. In other words, some of these wrestlers were vying for a position where they could be picked to appear in this fantastic show. The biggest of its kind for that particular time in history. Nowhere else was anybody planning a show of this magnitude that was being planned in Chicago for September 1st. And here we are early on, maybe a couple of months down the road is the big show at the Soldier Field, and we're seeing this great action here. Look at that action there in the ring. Look at that action. Now, this is the kind of wrestling action you could expect when you went to the International Amphitheater in Chicago in 1972. What were the prices? Well, they were really reasonable, fans. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Can you imagine that? And there you see, if you're sitting in those $6 seats, you got a close look here because it's Wilbur Snyder with the Cobra twist on Dusty Rhodes. Look at the build on that guy, Snyder. That Snyder, I want to tell you, there was one great, classy guy. Everybody loved Wilbur Snyder. He was a friend of everybody, and they just thought he was one of the greatest of all time. Let me tell you, he had memorable battles, too, with Lou Thez in 1958 and 59. He was a real, what you consider a real class wrestler in 1972 in professional wrestling. I mean, really classy. However, at this point, they're not taking that in consideration. I can see they're punching him real good here. Wilbur's taking a little bit of a beating. Wilbur was a big man, 6'4" tall, 240 pounds. And believe it or not, he was in Hollywood as an extra at one time in his career, standing in for, who do you think? Burt Lancaster. That's right. He was a stand-in. If you take a good look at this guy, Snyder, he is a real good look-alike to Burt Lancaster. But anyway, that was that for Hollywood. Wilbur saw the fame coming more from the side of being under the lights in a ring and not in front of the lights and a camera. So he turned to professional wrestling and incidentally had his first match at the Hollywood Legion Stadium, which then was a hotbed for wrestling on the West Coast. And he was signed to a contract by Johnny Doyle, and that was it. He came to the Midwest, wrestled Vern Gagne at the Marigold Arena, beat Vern Gagne, and that was really an upset, fan. Won the U.S. Championship, and from there on, it was nothing but roses for Wilbur Snyder. He was the fair-haired guy of the match. Everybody loved Wilbur. So here we're seeing action in 1972, right? Early on in probably around August 1972, we're at the amphitheater, and you're seeing the British Empire champion, Billy Robinson, later on to become one of the top contenders for the AWA World title, finally going into Sox Park wrestling Vern Gagne in the epic match of all time, which will be on the Classics. And fans, here you see the British Empire champion just starting to feel his oats in 1972, and one of his favorite tag partners at the time was Wilbur Snyder. Look at that! 6'4", fans, getting off your feet like that, coming in with a drop kick. I want to tell you, Snyder really had all the moves. Now we got Billy Robinson. Watch that Billy Robinson. Boy, was he tough, too. This guy was tough. He could take it. You see there, he's taking it right now, but he was one rough guy. Never counted Billy Robinson out. You could really work him over, get him to the point where you thought sure you could pin him, but hey, I'll tell you, he could recuperate in a minute, in a second. Great recuperative powers. There we have the announcement for that match, and we see that it's now going into the third fall, and we have, look at Robinson. Did you see that nip up? Did you see him just spring back on his feet there? I tell you, this guy was amazing. Look at that drop kick. Coming in on, that's Dirty Dick. Murdoch, he's pounding now. Snyder's tagged in. Great tagging here. And over the shoulder, we got a great match going here at the amphitheater. Great match. Hey, wall-to-wall people at the amphitheater. And it's Wilbur Snyder going for that Cobra twist. Hey, he's going for it. Murdoch's fighting him off. Wilbur's going for it, turning him around. He's got it on him. Oh, in comes Murdoch, and I want to tell you, well, that's what wrestling's all about. That's right. You ain't got the man until you got the man. It sounds like something from Yogi Berra, right? But I mean, it's not over till it's over in professional wrestling, that's for sure. Did you see that? He came off the rope and banged Snyder, and Snyder's going to get pinned. Whoa, wait a minute, fans. That was the second fall right there, fans. I'm afraid to tell you. Looks like the announcer's coming in now, so we have... Wait, they're leaving the ring. Wait, they're leaving the ring. They must have won the match. That was the third fall. I can't believe it. That's it. Wilbur, my man. We'll be back.